Welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast, bringing you fishing tips, gear reviews, tournament news, and more. Featured guests from all over the nation. Now, 1 hour of live streaming via Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Here's your host, John Rapp. Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. Got 6 viewers up on the show at the present time. Hey, want to thank you guys for showing up, being on the show. Got a good one for you here. So hey, like it so we can show you across the bottom of the screen in the video feed that you're on and you're watching. Share the post so we can get more people to see what we're talking about tonight. And let's see here. Garrett Holt, good to see you, Big Daddy, from Romney, West Virginia. Then we got, Randy Newton from Kayak Anglers of Florida, a good friend and follower of the show. Jonathan Cart from Charleston, Kanawha County. Hey, tonight's topic, we're kicking it. Nicholas, another Florida fella. Glad to have everybody on the line with us tonight. And Jonathan, Sharon. That's right. Share it. We have got a great episode tonight, guys, and this is all about fishing, marketing yourself, and trying to secure and get sponsorships, or to become part of a team, become part of a brand. And I'm going to go out and throw this disclaimer right at the beginning. Okay, what do you say, Joe, Brian? If you don't own the product and you're not using the product, this episode is not for you. I mean, we don't need, as my friend Chris Payne put it earlier, you go ahead and say it, Chris, say it. Sticker liquors. Yeah, sticker liquors, okay? Brand whores, no. Now, if you want to create a fishing resume so you can show your history, show what you've done, show the products you use, that's what you need to do this for. Okay? Now, the whole idea and the premise of this is so you can build your brand, show the companies that you already love and follow and support, and reach out to them and say, hey, I've been using your product for years. I use your kayak. I use your fishing pole, your rod or reel, your baits. I support your company. That's what this show's all about. A little bit passionate about it because I've been doing this as a club manager, club owner for years. I've built relationships with people in this industry, and it's important to build relationships. Integrity is important. So anyway, there's several features and sections that you need to look at when you're building a resume. And I've got a slide here I'm going to pull up. I'm going to try to pull up here. And let's see if we can get it. I may not have the scene set up, but we'll go to Chris's scene and we'll pull it up that way, okay? Or Brian, we're on Brian's scene. Okay? So first, you need, when you do a resume, it's a standard resume. It's a fish, but it's more fishing related. Now, I've reached out to several companies and got a little feedback from all these guys, and so we're going to put together with some of their feedback. And we got Chris and we got Brian Schiller on board with us tonight from Paddle and Fin. These guys, they can explain in great detail the work that needs to be done before you go out and approach people. The things that you need to be having in your possession, the things that you need to be using and believe in. That's the stuff that you want. You don't want to become somebody out there who is looked at as you're just chasing discounts. Don't be that guy. Don't be a discount chaser. So, shout out to Chris and Brian. Dwayne Wally at the very end of the day hit me up with his suggestions. Roland Bones Jimenez from Feelfree. Anyway, I've got some of those slides we will show you. Anyway, it's going to be a really good show, and I hope you're interested in this topic. We got 11 folks. Hit your share like button so I can work with you and talk with you, and also throw up. I can view your chats here in Streamlabs. Trying to refresh that now so I can see who all's made comments, and that way we can I can respond and talk with you. Okay. But the whole idea behind this is, remember that your resume is not to tell a story. Or talk about all your fabulous accomplishments. It should be telling the pro staff manager how you can help him sell their product and what you can do for them and how they can work with you. So Garrett, Jonathan, Mikey, Tammy, Jerry, Kyle, Nicholas, thanks for showing up. We've got 11 people. Make sure you hit like and share so I can see your names come across the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that screen again on Brian's screen. Objective, okay? It's to work with a company, develop their brands, grow their market share, improve their product line. You need to have probably already used this stuff, okay? You need to have knowledge of it. If you don't have knowledge of it, how can you go out and talk about it? So that's something that you need to look at, okay? Now, when these people are talking to you and looking at you, and I think let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to switch gears here, and I'm going to pull up the slides from the guys that came in earlier. And we will show these to you, okay? So, fishing resume, yeah, well, that's what this is all about. Okay, Derek Burgos. He is the proud owner of Pure Florida Water Sports. It's one of the largest kayak fishing facilities in Tampa, Florida area. And you can see where he said in his comments, in our conversations, if you want to see them be helpful toward others and have a positive attitude while doing so, professional and humility is a must. Totally agree with that. I mean, not only are you trying to get with a company and represent them, but you're representing you, okay? And you don't make yourself look bad, because if you make yourself look bad, you're making that company look bad. And also, the company's going to hear about it. People are going to, this industry is so small. If you've been in it for a few years, everybody knows everybody. And it only takes a phone call. So, Dookie Westcamp from Catch USA. We had a good, lengthy discussion. And, Duke not only has a fishing team, but he has a business that's in the fishing industry as well. So when he looks at people, he looks at how they fit, not only with his team when they file a team resume, but how they work with his shop. So how you fit in with the rest of the guys at the shop is far more important than experience you have. Good chemistry matters. Now, I will say, I cleaned that up a little bit because I love Dookie. The man is redneck. He's straight to the point. He tells you what it is, and I love him. But basically, no assholes are wanted. We need people, good people. We want people that know the industry. And if you know the industry and you're cocky, you're not helping yourself. But if you have some humility and you go in wanting to honestly be a part of that company, Catch USA, Pure Florida Water Sports, Feelfree Kayaks, all the kayak brands, Jackson, Payne Outdoors, Chris's people. They don't want people that are going to make their brand look bad. So you need to come into it just like a job. Our tie is our fishing pole, and our pocket protector might be our tackle box. Represent with the best you can. Because not only are you fishing tournaments and having them, maybe representing them fishing tournaments, but you're going to work trade shows. You're going to do other stuff with the company. Brian Schiller and I are part of the not Paddle and Fin, I'm sorry, that's his unit. I'll be there someday, Brian Schiller. But Brian and I are part of the YakGadget Pro Team. YakGadget put us up last year for 4 days. We went out and shot video. Didn't cost us a dime. They paid for our food, paid for our house. All we had to do was take days off and go. These companies will treat you right if you treat them right. It works both ways. Okay. Tangible values. So, know those. Know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Let's look what Dwayne Wally from Attorney X had to say. Just reached out to me a little bit ago. He said, we look for community charity work. Putting others first before yourself. Helping others to learn the sport and remaining positive. Amen, Dwayne. So, when you put this paper together, when you write up your resume and you have it either on paper, a card, or on a website somewhere, and you send it to Dwayne, before they're going to call you and do an interview with you or talk to you, what are they going to do? They're going to do research. When I was a West Virginia State policeman, and I used to do background investigations on potential troopers, people that were applying to be law enforcement, man, we did thorough research. We checked driver's license, credit histories, work references, personal references. You need to make sure that your integrity is intact. And, it's just, there's so many ways people can look into you, into your background. The internet does not lie. It can be manipulated, but once it's out there, it's out there. Research Dwayne Wally, research John Rapp, Chris Payne. There's stuff out there we've done the last 5, 6, 7 years from all of the entities that we've worked with. So know your tangibles because people can find it. They can look for it. There's Fletch Griffin from Westbrook Supply Company down in Georgia, Atlanta. Be active in the paddling community and social media and be able to recommend a brand that is best suited for someone. So, I am a Feelfree Kayaks competitive team member, pro staff, all the above. But if someone comes and talks to me about a kayak, let's say Jackson, I'm not going to badmouth Jackson. I don't know anything about Jackson. I've never been in one. But I'll say, hey, my really good friend Chris Payne can answer those questions. He's on their team. So and you pass that along to Chris. Say, hey, here's Chris. Here's his information. Reach out to him on Facebook. Now, if I apply for a team later, I use Chris as a reference. Say, hey, Duke, I'm going to be a part of your team. I want to join your team. Chris Payne's a reference. And then Chris said, oh, yeah, I know John. Man, he's a good dude. He's actually sent people to me because they were interested in Jackson's. Because he didn't know anything about him. He did. And, I didn't badmouth him. Chris can say, well, he sent stuff to me. So.
Hey, John, I've been quiet long enough.
Okay, hold on, man. Let me bring on my first guest. I'll bring it on. I'm rambling, brother. I'm sorry. So there we go. Oh, there's Brian. I don't like Chris.
You can pull us both up.
Okay.
Conversation. Let's blow it up.
Let me see if I can do it, man. Let me see if I can bring on Brian
You can do
too.
Chris first. I can wait. You're good. Whatever.
You may not ever get the mic if I start talking.
That's fine. I'd rather listen to you. You boys and girls better have a piece of paper and a pen ready.
Okay, we got. Let's see. I'm trying to remove myself from the video here. Okay.
He's trying to up the ugly right now, Chef.
Oh yeah, yeah, baby. So hey guys, give me just a second here, and we're gonna get it all right. That's Brian Schiller. We got Chris, and then of course you've seen my ugly self. So I gotta. I'm sorry, Chris. I was going on good there.
Yeah, I was holding it as long as I could, man. And then I was like, okay, I need to jump in here. You still got us?
Yeah, your guys are live, man. Talk.
So, for those who don't know, let me give my experience with it. So I've been on pro staffs and worked with different pro staffs through the years. I've worked with companies like NRS, Bending Branches, Costa Yeti. I am currently a fishing team member with Jackson. I'm actually the liaison for our pros with Yak Power for the pro and ambassador teams. And I ran the Hook One crew for Chad Hoover back when he had his Hook One shop for several years. So I've run teams and been a part of teams. I'm still doing a lot of the team management stuff with Yak Power. It seems like I try to step away a little bit, but it's just a space where I can do in 10 seconds what it could take them, hours to do sometimes, just because of familiarity. When you talk about intangibles, so let's talk about that first, or your tangibles, or what you bring to the table. I get so many applications with guys who at Yak Power, there's actually a link on the website that you can go and fill out a form that asks you the very specific questions that are on a lot of your resume questions. What's your YouTube, what's your Instagram, what's your Twitter, what's your all of that. I cannot tell you the number of people that apply that say, oh, hey, I'm getting a new boat, and so I don't have a YouTube yet, but I'm planning on starting one. I don't have an Instagram yet. I've got 38 friends on Facebook, and I'm a member of like 5 groups. And I'm just like, where does that help me? Like, what are you planning on doing? Well, I'm going to shoot you an install video of me installing this. Okay, so what of our products have you used before? I haven't used them. I'm hoping you'll send them to me. Why the hell do I want an install video from somebody who's never installed our products out living on the web of how to do it wrong? Like, I don't want that crap. I'm not interested in it. You're looking for a $500 electrical system for free 99, and buddy, I ain't buying that. It is very, very rare. Not that it doesn't happen, but it is very, very, very rare in the fishing industry for you to have never used a product, hit up a company, and they're like, yeah, sure, we'll send you a bunch of stuff for free.
That's when it goes back to that sticker licker thing we were talking about, and I love that thing that we were talking about at the beginning when you were like, hey, I'm gonna create a YouTube page. If you send me your product, and you're like, what?
Yeah, call me in 3 years. I'm not interested right now. Get
for 6 views,
1,000 or 5,000 followers or 10,000 followers. Really, I don't even care necessarily about the YouTube and the socials as much as your reputation in the industry and actually having one, right? So if nobody knows who you are anywhere, right? I don't know that I'm interested. I don't know what you bring, because here's the thing, right? So how I treat Payne Outdoors and our plastics is different than Yak Power because we're at different ends of the spectrum, right? So Yak Power is in Bass Pro, Cabela's, tons of paddle specialty shops all over the country. You can find them it's Yak Power is everywhere. Payne Outdoors plastics come from my garage in Belton, Texas, and that is it. And so my expectations are a little bit different. So you have to know your audience, right? You have to know the company that you're talking to. Because if you approach Lew's or Dobbins or Shimano, well, guess what? They have market saturation. And so it's going to take a unique personality with either be it achievements or salesmanship or something to even crack the seal on being able to have a discussion about something like that. That's not a buy. So you have to know your audience. How big of a company is this that we're talking about? And then you have to set your expectations. I think probably the best question that I can get asked is, I've used your product. I like it. How can I help you get this out to more people? Right? That's a great lead in for folks to ask companies that they want to deal with. Because if you're just like, hey, I've had guys, and you want to talk about burning a bridge, you can burn a bridge real quick. Because if you send me a request and you ask for free product, and I said, look, man, I really can't do free product. I'm trying to cover costs, but I can give you a 30 or 40% discount on one order, however much you order, 30 or 40% discount. And you're like, nah, I'm just looking for free stuff. Like, no, or they don't say it like that. That's how it comes across. What they actually say is, well, I'm at a different level than that, and I really don't pay for stuff.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh! Hey, what's your thoughts on that, Brian?
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, guys, Brian on the left, we got Brian Schiller. On the right is Chris Payne. Brian Schiller is Paddle and Fin network guru. Got a network of shows underneath him. I will not go with the Podfather this evening.
You just said it.
But then now Brian is also he is I mean, good God, New Canoe guru, runs a podcast for New Canoe several nights a week. Jumps on here with me at least once a month. Brian, you've heard about this resume and the things of such that we've talked about. Thoughts?
Man, yeah, I've had many extensive conversations about this, done many shows about it, and Chris hit it on the head, right? Like, I've seen it and I've heard of it in numerous other ways. Like, you got to put in the work, like plain and simple, and you got to be a good person, right? Like, yeah. You go back to all those companies or all those guys from those companies you talked about. It was you got to be a good person, clean, social, represent the brand, be familiar with it. Like, I've seen guys try to approach a team and they don't know the first thing about what the company does. I mean, that's the big thing, is just being educated on the actual product you're looking to get in with. Give them a tag here and there on social. I think the biggest thing, like the way you interact on social media plays such a big background on where you get in the long run, right? Like, if you're one of those guys that just likes to stir up a bunch of crap and talk crap about brands or tournament trails or whatever it may be, like, that's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, granted, there are some guys out there that do that quite a bit, and they do have some sponsorships, and like how that works, I don't know. But
I can't understand it. I mean, negativity, yeah. Man. I mean,
well, I mean that's huge. Like, promoting the sport. That's something I like. When I started Paddle and Fin, it was to educate, because I had troubles myself finding good quality information and good ways to get educated on what to use on the water, how to rig a boat, how to fish a tournament, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? So that goes a long way, and you got to build off that, right? And you got to know your niche, right? Are you a tournament fisherman? Are you a YouTuber? Are you a podcaster? Are you just a guy that gets in the social media groups and helps guys and gals out when they have questions? Like, those are all different, unique aspects. And, it took me a long time to realize, like, what my niche was, and that I should focus on that instead of trying to do 10, all 10 together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's some guys that do that, but if you put all your focus on your strong suit and build off of that versus stretching yourself thin, you're going to do better in the long run. But I mean, the one thing, everybody's like, oh, I'm on a pro staff, and they think they're a professional, and that's promotional. And I wish they would change the name of it.
Agreed.
Instead of pro staff to marketing staff, because that's what you are. You're an extension of their marketing
department,
marketing team, their brand marketing, etc. It's that old saying, right? Like, you make one customer mad, they're going to tell 100 people. You make one happy, they're going to tell 10. So if you got 10 guys out here making, saying a bunch of good things and whatever, you're reaching a small audience, but it's going to be more of a what would you call it?
It's going to be engaged organic growth.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's a good way of saying it, Chris. But I mean, and another thing too, like being open to other brands, like for instance, you said, I'm a new canoe guy through and through, but I also work with a kayak shop. They sell other brands. If somebody comes into the shop and they want a fast water moving kayak that they're going to be running like class 2s in, I'm not going to sell them a Frontier 12. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's other boats out there that fit that aspect much better, right? So you got to be open to that and be cognizant and aware of what other manufacturers are doing, what their boats are capable of, and things like that. I see a lot of guys that, like, oh, Hobie through and through, that's the only way to go, or I'm only new canoe, or I'm only Feelfree, like, I don't want to talk about those other boats. You got to be open-minded.
Oh yeah.
Like I've always said, there's no such thing as a 100% perfect kayak. There's a perfect kayak for a perfect situation for a perfect person. But there's no boat out there that checks all those categories. In my opinion. Some people may think different, but it is what it is. But you got to be open-minded. I think that's some of the big keys that I could throw out there.
Yeah, I think you're right on with that. I think one of the you were talking about the different types of people. One of the absolute undersold people that I really love to have on staff with me are what I call the boat ramp guys.
Yeah.
So they are the local knowledge base that everybody goes to, but they're probably not on Facebook or Instagram.
Right.
They're the guy that people will catch at the coffee shop or send a text to or call because they know what's going on. Like, some of my favorite guides, like, that I've ever fished with on these big water lakes, they're not on Facebook. That's a recommendation from somebody that I know, that somebody that they know, that somebody that they know, and you get a phone number and you call them up, just cold call them, But those guys, that's who everybody goes to for their information, because they're going to shoot you straight. And if they don't know, they're going to put you in the hands of somebody who does know, as opposed to just blowing smoke just because they're trying to move a product or something like that. Boat ramp guys, they're the ones who are in the parking lot 2 hours after the tournament, who are talking about what worked, what didn't work,
right.
All of that. Not many excuses out of those guys. They have a lot of knowledge, and they're willing to share it for the most part. and they're just really good boat ramp guys because they build relationships with everybody they talk to.
Hey, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're just going to go over the bodies of what people need to look at when they do their resume, and then we'll continue this conversation.
This episode is sponsored by our friends at Payne Outdoors. No nonsense, straight talk, outdoor analyst, and custom plastics. Googan Brothers Custom Tackle, custom made jigs and Ned rigs. Feelfree Kayaks. Pedal, paddle, or power, there's something for everyone. And YakGadget, proudly supplying you with American-made kayak fishing accessories and gear. Now, let's join our host, John Rapp.
Hey guys, welcome back to the second half of the podcast, Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast. Tonight's topics have been on a fishing resume and what to put on it, what to do, and what not to do. And I've got a couple of great guys on here tonight with us, with Brian Schiller from the Paddle and Fin Network, also part of the New Canoe team. He's several teams, works at a kayak shop as well. Got Chris Payne, old school kayak bass fishing, run a magazine, got his own Payne Outdoors, does a lot of product reviews and stuff. So, but before we bring these fellows back on, I want to go back and I want to look at these screens, okay? That we're looking at here. And let's pull back. Let me get back to my folder here. And I just want to go over some resume topics for you real quick. And then we'll bring the guys back on and we'll go over it some more. So again, the beginning of your resume should be an objective. And, you should already be part and know what your goal is for that company. Your work history. Now, when you look at that graph, you get age dependent on the left, okay? Guys like me, I'm 56 years old. Happy birthday, Brian. When Brian comes back on, everybody wish him a happy birthday. He just had a birthday yesterday. So, work history. People want to know what you do and what you've been doing. If you're a military guy, if you're but 56-year-old guy, I've held 3 jobs my whole life. So they're looking at that and they're thinking, okay, well, this guy, he's loyal. Thank you, Mikey. But if you are like 25 or 27 or even 30, you just got out of college, you've moved around a couple times, so you've moved jobs around. When they look at your resume and they're like, oh man, this guy's held 6 jobs in the last 7-8 years, be prepared to explain it. And a lot of guys are going to look at it and they're going, oh, okay, he's moved, he's taken other jobs, he's stepping up. And that's what life's all about. And they're going to understand that, okay? Let's see. Let's talk about your professional highlights. Okay? This is tournament. Fishing specific, okay? Tournament results. Maybe throw in your top 5. Trade shows you worked. If you've been at ICAST working with the company. Publications. If you sent something back when Chris had his magazine and you were published by Chris. Or with Kayak Angler Magazine Now. Or any other of these other fine online magazines that do fishing. Also company-sponsored videos. Or videos from other professionals like with Lowrance, Garmin, Z-Man, things of these things, man. They are something that you need to add to your resume. And what I've talked about is in there education. When you have a section for education, military experience. If you were a 25-year man in the military, retired at E7, E8, E9. You made it as far as you could max out. You went to War College, First Sergeant School, BNOC, ANOC, all the different classes. And you can show those guys how you progressed and you worked. What you're showing them is you're disciplined, you're driven, you're goal-oriented, and you meet those goals. And companies have goals. Marketing departments have goals. And they expect you to meet those goals. Okay, we talked about professional highlights. That's the last upcoming tournament schedule. So when you're talking to guys, you can say, "Hey, these are the events I'm going to. These are the trade shows I'm going to." So they have it. They can see where you're going to be, and a lot of companies go to those trade shows, or they have representatives there. I just worked the East Tennessee Kayak or Fishing Show down in Knoxville. I went to represent the Feelfree Kayak brand, the family of brands, Johnny Boats, Sea Streams, and Three Waters, on behalf of Frontier Outdoors, a shop in Tennessee. I've worked with those guys for the last 5 years, 6 years when they've had their show down there. Absolutely love them, and I feel like I'm part of their family. So you work your way and you broaden relationships. So I'm a West Virginia guy, but I got friends and family and people that I love in Tennessee, shops that if I moved down there, I would probably, hopefully, would be recognized as someone that they would want on their staff. So, Mikey, as you said, also, if I may add, if you happen to be 15 pro staffs that are not really involved to pass a discount code, leave them off your resume. It looks worse to brands if you have 15 staff positions versus a few solid brands that you contribute more to or dealers you work with. Other involvement is never impressive than quality involvement. Spot on, Big Daddy. Hashtags. If you're hashtagging the people that you're with and you're working with, that will be seen. You can add those to your resume for potential companies and teams to look at to see where you've been and where you have been. So, and I'm going to bring up one last slide, I think, here that I've got. I wanted to show you guys. Social media, of course, make sure you list your social media accounts from seeing your followers and your likes and your pages. Some companies like to see what your reach are, which your reach can be, as Chris and I were talking and Brian were discussing earlier. If you're telling Payne Outdoors, hey, I'm getting to create a YouTube page, and if you send me some product, I'll do a video on it. Wow, no, that ain't gonna work, man. You need to be established. So get your page started. Get some content on it, even if it's old content. Stuff that you've done a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Load that stuff up so people can see what you've done. Current affiliations and sponsors. And that's what Mikey McKinstry was just talking about. All these companies here, they've worked with this show. They worked with this show specifically tonight. So God bless you guys. They sent us feedback. So I appreciate that. So anyway, the last part of that before I bring Brian and Chris back on is this right here. Go to Wix or go to Facebook if you can. Create a Facebook page just for fishing. Create a QR code like I've done for Rusty Hook so people can go directly to that. They can take their smartphone. They can scan it. And it takes them right to the page and they can look at all the things that you've done, how you've handled yourself, how you treat people when they comment, links to YouTube, links to your social media pages. You can even put a good bio up there. Like I have a bio on my my Twitch. Twitch has a nice little write-up where you can put a nice bio in there. I wrote up some stuff for that, where I the fishing poles I use, my personal best largemouth and smallmouth, the rods and the reels that I have on those rods. I mean, you can get specific so people can see how detailed you can be when you work for that company or you represent them. Because details matter. When you're sitting there and you're talking to someone about a boat at a trade show, they want to know about the seat, how the seat works. They want to know if you can stand in the boat, things of that nature. You need to know how to explain to them how that works and why the best way to work that way in that boat. All right, so let me switch gears here. Focus back to Discord And there they are. Welcome back, fellas. To the left, we have Brian Schiller, the pod daddy, and the Payne master, the mad kitchen expert. Payne Outdoors is Chris Payne. Brian Schiller, continue with where you were at earlier, buddy.
One thing I wanted to say too, because I've seen this. I run the little kayak fishing team that we have at my kayak shop, and I'll get some resumes. Spell check is a genius invention, and it should be used. I know I've heard Chris talk about that numerous times, like as far as like articles and stuff go. But like being able to put a sentence together in spelling, like that is huge.
Hey, that's Lance McCorder was bringing that up earlier. That'll be one of the slides I'll show here at the end about what he had to say. So,
right on. I mean, it's you got to start somewhere too, right? Like, I'd hate to not say don't like reach for the stars and go after the biggest company out there that you're like the biggest fan of, but you got to start somewhere and start small, work your way into it, see if it's something you even like. I see a lot of guys like get into the whole promotional game and sponsorships, and then it just makes them miserable.
Hey, that's perfect. Dude, you're so right. Okay, you work at a kayak shop, right?
Sure.
You sell a bunch of different kayaks. You know the kayak industry. So you being on the new canoe team and being one of the big dogs in new canoe with Everett, I mean, like you can be like, hey, I just sold Jimmy Joe Bob a new canoe last month. I was watching his Facebook page. Man, he's active. He's good. He's got a good little thing going on there. You know what, Everett? Maybe we ought to talk to him about being a brand ambassador for the next 6 months or the rest of this year. See how he works out. See what we think of him. It starts with the local stores. That's my point.
Yeah, it starts at the grassroots level. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, a lot of kayak shops are obviously talking to their sales reps, and the sales reps are talking to the marketing staff, right? Like, I mean that right there opened a lot of doors for me. Like, I used to go hang out at my local kayak shop on Sundays in the winter and help customers when they were busy. I didn't work there. I was just hanging out. I liked being there, liked looking at boats, talking boats, talking fishing with folks. I just go hang out. And eventually they were like, all right, you're here, we might as well pay you. But, a shop that, is small or big, when they see that they look at it as a guy that's willing to help and go the extra mile, they're more likely to refer you to those folks or those brands you may be interested in, versus the guy that comes in and complains that, like, they didn't ship my scupper plugs with my boat, bro.
Yeah.
Or something dumb like that.
With scupper plugs, bro.
Yeah, right.
It's like we got Richie Sockquest is saying it's like taking care of your car. You buy a new ride, you take care of it. And Mikey Holcomb's, I'll take quality over quantity and would rather have 4 quality brands than just to chase discounts with several companies to be on pro staff for 5%. And that's the whole thing. We don't. Mikey's again hit it, and Brian's talked about it. So's Chris. Don't try to be a discount sticker licker chaser. I mean, don't do it. Kyle, what front should your resume be in? Bro, from what I've seen of you, it needs to be in like 40 size caps. I mean, you need a lot of big font, okay? Jack Tibbins, shop is definitely a good way to get your foot in the door. So, hey, continue on, fellas.
Let's talk about fonts. Do not use Comic Sans. Do not do Times New Roman or Arial. Not Arial Black, not Impact. Times New Roman or Arial are perfectly acceptable and are what most of your websites are going to be built in, or some derivative of those. Times New Roman says I'm professional. Arial says I'm professional, but I'm a little outdoorsy and like to have fun too. Like, leave it at that. If you do Comic Sans, man, that's the font you use for kids' clown birthday parties. Don't do that crap. Also, do not use papyrus. Like, that is a trash font and should never be used.
So,
so let me build off of that a little bit too. I think, an analogy that I try to use with some guys who, want the moon the first year they're professionally fishing a tour is, when you move out of your parents' house, the natural inclination is to want a house as nice as your parents have, to have the furniture as nice as your parents have, to have the TV as nice, the car as nice. You expect to be at the same place your parents are, but it took them 30 years to get there, and you're expecting it day one. Like, chill out.
Amen.
Go work a boat show, feel that concrete on your feet for 3 or 4 days, and then decide, is this the life for me? Because you know what? I don't like boat shows. They make my back hurt, but they're a necessary part of what we do. And I will go work ICAST. I will be at the Houston Boat Show the end of March. I will be at the George R. Brown slinging Jackson kayaks with my boys from Jackson that are in the South region, because I owe that to Jack. They put a lot of backing behind us, and I owe them 4 days of back pain to go down there and show people why I love that boat. Like, there's some good stuff that can be done, and sometimes you sacrifice it, but you gotta take your time to get there, man.
Let's talk about that, man. Let's go there, okay? Because everybody's got skin in the game. Skin in the game. Now, East Tennessee Kayak Fishing Show, or I keep saying kayak fishing because that's what we're about. It's the East Tennessee Fishing Show in Knoxville a couple weeks back. I went down for 4 days. It cost me $1,000. Me, not Feelfree, not Frontier. I paid for my room. I paid for my gas. I paid for my food. I put that money out because I love this sport. I love these companies. But I get it back. We all get it back. We get it back in forms of discounts. There's also, and granted, some of these guys are talking about 5%, 10%, but they're better than that. We all know that. On top of that, you also, different agencies or different companies will have what they have, like a bucks program, where like if you go do trade shows, they'll give you $100 credit in on your file, and then, or they may, if add another thing. And Brian, I know Chris, you guys do it too. Once you get affiliated with these companies and they trust you and they feel like that they can rely on you, these marketing departments, next thing you know, you're a moderator on several of their pages, or as in Brian's case, and soon for me, we will be doing a podcast for the brand. So you'll be an admin for the team pages. Those responsibilities are heavy, and there's a lot of work behind it, and it's not. You're not doing stuff for free. Your time is valuable, and they recognize that, and they reward you for it.
Here's the bottom line: everybody comes into it thinking about what they can get out of it, and you quickly have to decide what you're willing to put into it, and that shifts. So the good ones probably came into it with the idea of what am I going to get out of this relationship, but very quickly they loved the culture around the products. They loved the products. They loved, being able to meet people at boat shows and tell them about awesome stuff, or, doing on the water demos or whatever it is. And they're willing to come out of their pocket to go do that. Most, like when I had KBF Mag back in the day in 2016, I paid the full weight of all of my guys to go there, to do all the interviews, to do all the videography, I paid for meals, paid for, room and board, all of that stuff, paid for the membership with IGFA or whatever it is to get into ICAST as a company. And I would do it all again, right? So I wasn't even selling product. I was there as a media company, right? But I did it because I thought it was important that we get firsthand, fast, quick information about what's coming out so we could give the information to the general public to let them know what's coming out. These are the things we're excited about. These are the things we're not excited about. Right? I remember seeing that Wave Walker boat, that piece of trash little double pontooned seat in the middle that they decked out like a 57 Cadillac, and thinking, my God, these people are so far away from what kayak anglers are looking for. But and we talked about it, and we're like, nice try. No. But it was about the love of being there, right? I came out of my pocket to do that. I've come out of my pocket to go to Tennessee multiple times to do KBF events. I've come out of my pocket multiple times to go to Dallas or Houston to work boat shows with no expectation of being reimbursed. Now, people will say that's nuts or you have too much money or whatever. No, I work hard for every penny that I have, and I'm willing to spend it helping other people see success and helping get the right product in the right hands. Like, I care about it that much. You have to be a little bit psycho to be a long-term staffer.
Yeah.
Just a little, not a lot of it, but a little bit. Like, you have to definitely be a fanatic of whatever brand it is if you're going to put in more than 3 or 4 years. Because
I'm starting 8 years with Feelfree.
Yeah. And you know what? You're coming out of your pocket for some stuff. But when you do it, you're like, this is going to help Jim, or this is going to help Denver, or this is going to help, Bones or whoever, and it's something you do out of love for the people that
Amen.
You're working. Like,
truth.
Like, if Bones called me and he said, "Hey man, I need somebody to help me out to do X, Y, and Z," man, I've known Bones forever, and I'd be like, "Yeah, let me see if I can clear my work calendar, and I'll get down there." When you develop those relationships with the companies and the people, specifically with the companies that you're working with, it makes it easy to do that. And people who don't have that think I sound crazy right now. They're like, I don't want to do that. Well, I'm just telling you, there's a big I told you so coming on the back side of your pro staff entry.
Hey, and you'll love this comment from our good friend Mikey Holcomb. Networking in this community is crucial. And above all else, it costs nothing to be supportive and kind to people.
Yep.
Amen, brother.
Yep.
Preach it. Preach it, Mikey. Mikey Holcomb.
That like and share doesn't cost you anything.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, just to go off that real quick, what Chris was talking about, you got to put in the time, effort, and energy. And eventually you gain that reputation of like, I could call on this guy at any given point in time and he'll drop what he's doing just to help us out or do whatever it is, and he'll spend the money to go work a trade show, call him last minute. He'll be there when we need a guy. That stuff goes a long way. It's just like everyday work stuff, right? You want to work up the ladder, you bust your butt to get where you're going, and then eventually that stuff comes full circle, you get the reimbursements, you get a hotel room, you get whatever it may be, but you got to put in the work. I see a lot of guys whine and cry about, not getting to where they want to be because they haven't put in the work, the time, and the energy.
You're right, man. And you just can't expect something to be given to you, like Chris said earlier. Mommy and daddy laying on your couch. And you can't come into this industry thinking, oh, I just created a YouTube page. I got a new Instagram. I got a new Twitter. I can,
One thing that really stuck out to me was an interview I heard. I think it was last year. Seth Feider won the I think it was the Bassmaster AOY race. Somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong. But he did an interview on Mike Iaconelli's podcast, and he talked about from when he started into the game, and he was struggling, was almost getting ready to give it up, and then he finally won his way in to the Elite Series, and he thought, "This is great. Now that I'm in the Elites, I'm going to get all the sponsorship money. I'm going to get all these sponsors and everything else." Little did he know, that is not how it works, boys and girls.
No.
He had to work twice as hard to get that stuff. Like I've seen it before. Like, I win all my local club tournaments, and so and so won't even give me the time of day. All they want to give me is a stupid discount. Well, you winning a tournament doesn't make up for what you want in like free product most of the time. Like, that doesn't sell product. Tournament results are great, don't get me wrong. It's the guys that do the long recaps with all the tags, the hashtags, shooting video while they're on the water doing tournaments, showing them using product X, Y, and Z. Things like that. Just because you go out and you can win a tournament and beat a bunch of guys doesn't really do anything for a marketing company. From a marketing standpoint, again, should be marketing staff, not pro staff.
Well, let me add to that, okay? Because this is one of my pet peeves. Is I would watch guys where I ran the West Virginia Kayak Anglers Trail, and we would also travel, and I know they're on pro staffs. They represent companies, and after a day of fishing, they didn't do well out on the water. So they would text you, or they would say, "Hey, I'm not coming to check in. I'm going home." Well, to me, I mean that doesn't shine well on you or the companies you represent. So you need to be there when you win. You need to be there when you lose. You need to be able to talk to people all the time, win or lose, because you still represent a brand. And that's my thoughts on that. So
I agree 100%, man. It's I won't lie, I'm guilty of it. I just did that. I went home a day early. Little different scenario, but
granted, you were 14 hours away. I mean, there's some understanding to that.
It was like 18 and a half.
Okay,
who's counting?
Yeah.
Who's counting? What's 4 hours? What's 4 hours?
I can understand. But when you're an hour and a half away, or you're in state, or you're even a couple hours away.
Right. No, I totally get where you're coming from, man. It's you just got to put in the time, effort, and energy. Be a good person. Represent yourself well. Represent the companies that you're working with well. Things will come. It may not happen overnight. I can guarantee you it's not going to happen overnight, but eventually good things come to those folks that put in the time, work, and energy. And sometimes you're like, man, I'm doing all this work and I feel like I'm getting nowhere. Just give it more time, work harder, and it'll happen. Trust me. I used to think the same thing. I'm in a really great place right now. And,
heck yeah.
Just put in the work, do your due diligence, networking, keep your socials clean, and just do the companies proud, man. Like, treat the company as if it was yours. Present yourself in the way that you would if it was your actual brand or company you're representing.
And folks, that was Brian Schiller. Chris Payne has already logged off, and I think we're going to close on that. While we're right before we close, I am going to go back through the slides one last time. Brian, God bless you. Thank you for last minute jumping on with us. I always love having you on.
Yeah, anytime, brother. Anytime. And I know McKinstry was in there, and I think we did like a 3-part podcast series with him on this very subject. Like, there was a lot of good information on there. Go check that out. Another guy to check out is Sam Jones, South Mountain Media. He does a lot of stuff with resumes and media kits and stuff like that. If you're looking for help to find a direction, I would suggest those 2 things right there.
Roger that, man. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Anytime, man.
All right, so let's see here. I want to focus on right here. let's go back and look at this one more time, guys. Just want to give you just a little bit of before we log off, okay? So it's like a resume. So you got your objective, okay? Put your work history down. Again, all the stuff that you're putting down, people will ask you questions about. Add your current affiliations and sponsors, and also you might include who those professional staff contacts are, like your marketing directors for those companies. Add your social media information. Make it easy for those folks to find you and look you up and investigate you to see if you're a fit for their company. If you use a product and you've talked about the product and you've hashtagged it before, and then they can go back and find that and see that when they search. So add your 2022 schedule, tournaments, your appearance dates, your any talk shows you're going to do, and things like that. But this is the thing that Mike McKinstry and all them have sort of pointed out when you create a web kit. I say create a page, or go to Wix and create a free page, and go in there and create you a good resume, a personal bio, add pictures, add video, add links, and use these formats that we've showed you tonight. And Mikey, I'd love to have you come one more night and talk more. Definitely, Mike. We will definitely put that on the agenda. So, anyway, I think we're going to call it a night. I think we had a good show. Some of my scenes, of course, did not work the way I wanted them to, and I was playing with them while we were talking. But that's just a par for the course when you're using Streamlabs and you got about 20 scenes from 20 shows and you're trying to figure out which one to use. So again, God bless you guys. Thank you. Like, share, make comments, and make sure you go check out the other videos that have been brought up.